Hola, ¿cómo están? Bienvenidos al Cofre de Miguel. Hoy les traigo el documental sobre la carrera de un director alemán, Wolfgang Petersen. Este director tiene tres películas que para mí son el eje principal de su filmografía. Una de ellas es Das Boot o El Barco o también El Submarino, que está rodada toda dentro de un submarino con un ambiente claustrofóbico muy bien logrado durante la Segunda Guerra Mundial. La que le siguió en su carrera es La historia interminable, película de fantasía que está basada en una novela de Michael Ende. Y luego la otra película muy destacable de él es Enemigo Mío, una película de ciencia ficción muy en el estilo quizá Steven Spielberg, pero con una impronta muy personal, que está basada un poquito en una película titulada Infierno en el Pacífico, protagonizada por Toshiro Mifune y Lee Marvin. Bueno, espero que les guste el documental y como siempre les pido que se suscriban al canal, que pongan me gusta, que aprieten la campanita para poder tener cada vez más seguidores y poder seguir subiendo más material. Muchas gracias y hasta la próxima.
I think that what makes Wolfgang unique from all the other directors that I've worked with is the fact that he really comes so close to your where you're acting. The proximity is very, very close, and everything reads on his face. You can see everything, so you know if you didn't get the scene, he's not a good liar. He'll come up and you can see that, you know, and he'll tell you. I mean, it's just everything is on his face. So you know if you did a good job or not from his point of view.
Colonel Daniels, this is General Ford. I remind you that you are interfering with presidential authority. Sandman has a specific line to the target. If you are in his way, he cannot complete his bombing run, and that will be held to pay. Do you understand? Over.
Why'd he say that?
Beats the hell out of me.
Billy, are you dumb or something? You just told him how to stop the... Okay. Okay.
Colonel, there it is.
Okay, man, you up for this?
Yes, sir. Viper Command, he's over the target area. Please advise, over.
Sandman, Viper Command. We have final clearance. Do not deviate.
I think what makes Wolfgang unique is his ability to combine a big canvas with an awareness of how important small moments are in terms of the actors and the acting. That ability to create a big canvas and at the same time hold a magnifying glass up to an individual actor in the middle of all of that, and to have us drawn to both at the same time.
One of his great gifts, I think, to lead actors, to be with the actors, to watch them very carefully and then giving help. But through the whole process of working, that is very, very rare that somebody's really watching you so carefully and gives you so much help.
He has the ability to understand what's going to be epic and catch the whole audience and in sort of a wave of, oh, we're having this emotional experience all together. And at the same time, he understands how to get those little bitty moments of truth that we know are there, and for a sophisticated audience, they'll find it's there, you know.
Born in Emden, Germany, Wolfgang Petersen began directing stage productions at age 21, while still an acting student at Hamburg's Ernst Deutsch Theater. Eventually deciding to focus his efforts solely on directing, Petersen entered the Berlin Film and Television Academy, where he trained for 4 years. In 1970, Petersen made his TV directorial debut with I Will Kill You, Wolf. He followed with 6 two-hour television features for the series Tatort. Among his other early successes were Smog, which won the 1975 Silver Prix Futura in Berlin, and Black and White, like Day and Night, for which he earned the award as Best Director at the Paris Film Festival in 1978. It was Petersen's success with the 1981 anti-war U-boat epic Das Boot, along with an Oscar nomination for Best Director, that bought him his ticket to Hollywood.
Well, believe it or not, I really wanted to become a film director already at the age of 12. And I was very, very convinced that that's what I really wanted to be. And it came because of all that influence that came from the American films to me. And in the world, in Germany then, or Europe, especially in Germany, after the war, then in the 50s especially, where everything looked so hopeless and gray. The American films were for me like a new and different and better world. And I was just hanging out in these theaters all the time. And there I had the feeling, oh my God, I would like to be involved with that, do something like that, become a film director. A friend of mine had a friend who knew an actor and who said, if Wolfgang's interested in film, why is he maybe not coming to us and watches us, rehearse a little bit, because it's not film, but it's something similar, like stage work and acting also. I said, okay, I would love to do that. So I was sitting there for, I would say, 3-4 weeks, always in the dark there watching these actors. All of a sudden, the director said, it was from Czechoslovakia, Baja Hochman was his name, and he was all desperate because there was an actor was sick, and they were saying, what shall we do? And that was right before the premiere. And I said, all of a sudden from the darkness of the room, I said, maybe I can help out. And they all turned their faces. What? I know all the lines for this character. I can come up to the stage and do the part. And then the director said, I like your passion for all this, and I would like you to be my assistant for the next play I do. So it all started. And then the theater hired me there for a whole season, and then I stayed there. And the next year I was already directing. So I directed, I think it was 20 or 21, I was directing my first kids play, and then I directed O'Neill and other stuff. And I quit my theater time at the age of 25.
There's a child in Wolfgang. I mean, he has a kind of child's imagination. If I had to guess, I would guess that he's never forgotten his childhood nightmares.
Close bow caps, take her deeper, Chief, take her deeper!
While Petersen toiled away turning out made-for-TV movies, plans were underway to bring to the screen Lothar G. Bockheim's monumental World War II novel, Das Boot. From the beginning, it was to be made with American participation that included an American director and film star. But eventually, all of those plans fell through, and Petersen was given the assignment as both the film's director and co-author of the screenplay. The film was released as a television miniseries, as well as a feature film. For his efforts, Petersen was nominated for an Academy Award as Best Director and Best Writer.
It came to me after a long while where I was sitting there in jealousy saying, why is it not coming to me? Because when the book came out in the early 70s in Germany, it was right away bought by Bavaria Studios, but meant to be a big American production, as a co-production with Bavarian Studios, because it was so unusually big and expensive that a German production could never finance itself. So they found a director, it was John Sturgis, and they found a star, and it was Robert Redford. After a year, that fell apart. For reasons, I think they had huge problems with the screenplay, fell apart, and another American group came in with the director Don Siegel and with Paul Newman as the skipper of the submarine. And then the whole thing fell totally apart because of other reasons. I don't know exactly what it was. And the management changed of Bavaria Studios. My mentor from television, from Cologne, from the Westdeutsche Rundfunk, Günter Urbach, came to Munich and became the new head of Bavaria Studios. And he said, Wolfgang, I watched it too, the whole thing, like you, and I agree it should be done by a German director, it should be done in German language, and it should be done by you.
That's our boat.
Crew,
It's interesting that the only existing seven-seat boat is in Chicago, in the museum there. And we all went and photographed every detail of that boat and used that to recreate our own. I had the feeling we should not open it up to make life easier as filmmakers, to go in and out and light it better, and so take a wall out, and so we didn't do that. I said we should, from the very beginning to the very end, live with the condition we have. That means work it all out within this tube. That dictated right away a special style for the camera work. So Jost Vacano, the cameraman, had to take the small Arriflex camera and put two gyroscopes on it that stabilizes this camera, and then he could do the whole film in handheld fashion. So we had no big, huge cameras, just that small one. He could move around on the smallest places with it, and it was great. It was really, you really had the feeling you were inside such a narrow space. And then the claustrophobia also, of course, becomes when you do these shots where you, for example, run through the entire boat, and you feel actually the length and get the feeling for this incredibly narrow tube, and visually really showing it and selling it. Not just do all these bits and pieces, but show it in one piece. I mean, this boat was just in one piece and was 70 meters long. That's very, very long. So if you find a way, in a clever way, to really sell it visually, then an audience will feel it.
It was a huge project with many, many people working on that project. And at that time, all the new technologies on one side were part of the movie, and on the other side, leading a huge crew like that, some very young and very undisciplined actors.
Forward! Standing position! Forward! Come on, move there! Come on, move it! Up!
And motivating them and really getting the best out of them, their best performances. I think that is the real wonderful, wonderful gift and craft he has, you know.
The only way that it worked is that we didn't go crazy about it or didn't get into fistfights about it because of the extremely difficult situation to work there. Was what we saw later on in the dailies, what we saw, how incredible, realistic and claustrophobic it looked like. It got us so excited that we had very early on the feeling we are doing something very special here.
Even after 20 years, people are still talking about this movie. People are still interested to see this movie. They still think this is one of the documents about war. And I think for the first time, German soldiers were portrayed for the Americans, not like stereotype, cliche sort of Nazis. They were portrayed as human beings trying to get through that war.
All right, now listen. We're going to blow out the water. Let's see if we can get our rear end out of the sand. If we make it to the surface, it could still get pretty rough. It's traffic's heavy up there.
When we were in La Rochelle in France to shoot the exterior shots for this boat, right before we arrived, we got a call from Steven Spielberg, who I knew, and who asked us if we would give him our submarine for a few days of shooting before we arrived for his Raiders of the Lost Ark film, where at the end, when you remember, there is sort of a scene with the submarine. Since he offered a healthy amount of money for it, we said yes, he could do that. And the inside was empty, just the engine, and it was just for exterior stuff. And then we came and we shot then our stuff with it. We brought it in that sort of safe little haven where we always had it, where a lighthouse was, a little bay where we always parked the boat. And I got a call from the next morning from the lighthouse keeper, and he said, "Mr. Petersen, didn't you park your boat last night here or so, like always?" I said, "Sure, it's not there." So overnight the storm came and took our boat apart. But The funniest thing about it is that I always said later on to Spielberg that I'm not so sure if he maybe unscrewed a little thing there to give us trouble because he used it before and then we came in. So sometimes I think it's better if you have a big prop like that in a movie that you use it first and then maybe give it to other filmmakers.
It was midnight in the howling forest. The wind whistled through the tops of the ancient trees. Suddenly, something enormous crashed and rumbled through the eerie woods.
In 1984, Petersen directed The Never-Ending Story, a partly American-financed movie filmed in Munich's Bavaria studios. The fantasy film, based on the best-selling novel by Michael Ende, featured Noah Hathaway, Barrett Oliver, Tammy Stronach, Moses Gunn, and Gerald McRaney.
My son Daniel was at that time 12 years old, I think, and I really, there was the time where I got, you know, that fathers sometimes are a little difficult to get emotionally close to their sons, and it was just started that we got it very close together when he was 12, 13 or so, and I had the feeling it would be great to do something what he would personally really enjoy. And after such a grim story like this boat, do something what is really more sweet and has a lot to do with kids' fantasies and so. And it came perfectly together at that time.
The never-ending story? What's that? Just as he is sharing all your adventures, others are sharing his. They were with him when he hid from the boys in the bookstore. But that's impossible! They were with him when he took the book with the orange symbol on the cover, in which he's reading his own story right now.
If a director gives an actor a piece of business to do, go sit on that chair in this line, pick up the glass on that line, that's just arbitrary. And it's difficult to then make that organically a part of the work that you're doing. But Wolfgang brings you in on it and lets you know why he wants you to sit on that line, visually, why it works for what he's doing, why take the drink at this moment, because you're picking the glass up and moving it through the frame will reveal that actor, Iraq focus to it. He will go through all of that with you, so you then feel like a co-creator of the movie with him, and all that rehearsal is then exciting. It's not drudgery at all. And you get to see how he's building his movie. And that's what it's like with him. He's building a movie, and he starts with a very good foundation.
We had a lot of so-called creatures in the film. The rock biter or mauler, the turtle, and other creatures. And at that time, you had to actually really build these creatures, huge creatures, and there were people who were pulling on strings and all that. It's so old-fashioned just to think about how we did that. But when I see these films, and not only mine, but other films sometimes, that time, they had also their special charm because of that. And that's sometimes, you feel films are today sometimes a little too smooth and too slick. So, because of all the technique that's so easy to do right now, sometimes even films that of Das Boot, where I was saying, you can say, oh, it's a little, you know, nowadays you would do it differently, but I'm not so sure if the film really would have been better. It was for the time great, and you know it's done some time ago, and when you see it as a movie that was done then, but it still kind of works for me, and it has, as I said, some kind of charm because of different ways of doing it at that time.
Two survivors, one human, one alien, who find themselves in an inhospitable world. Dennis Quaid and Louis Gossett Jr. superbly play the two central characters. Unfortunately, the film was neither a critical or box office success.
Well, they pushed me into this project. I mean, I had a big success with Never Ending Story and with Das Boot, and they really were after me to maybe save a project what went terribly wrong. So I finally say, okay, I do it, but I had my conditions. I say I really have to do it all from scratch again, because I think otherwise it doesn't work for me. Bizarre story, totally bizarre story.
Oh my God, are you telling me you're pregnant? What, you're gonna have a baby? Well, a little Drac?
I liked it in a way because it was so strange and so challenging and so bizarre. And also I was in a mood at that time that's always dangerous. That you say, I'm the king of the world. Sort of, I can do anything now because I did a boat and a totally different film maybe for kids, a fantasy, and both films were huge successes worldwide. So what's next, so to speak? Big mistake, because that film basically was a flop. Didn't really work. I'm not saying it was a bad movie because it has definitely problems in the script and so, but and also it was so. It was a time when these kind of sci-fi things were a little bit out of fashion. It was a little bit film out of time, I think I would say.